Welcome back, guys, to the exercise training sessions, and we stopped at transformations, right? Yesterday in last session we put an end at exercise transformations after completing exercise transformations. In this session we are going to discuss about data flow destinations. Okay, so for that let me take one data flow. So we discussed about sources, we discussed about transformations, and now the last part of ETL, that is load, that is destinations. So to demonstrate the destinations, I'm taking a data flow and I'll take a source. I mean, it doesn't matter whatever the source I'm going to take here. Let me take OLE DB source and point to the newly created tables in sample database. So I'll go for salesperson table, which has some valid data, and with these columns. Okay, now let me minimize these data flow transformations. We have discussed a lot. We spent a lot of time on that, so I don't want to open it again. The next one is data flow destinations. So there are something around 8 to 10 destination types, and as you all know, it will be like not all the projects require all kinds of destinations, and at the same time all kinds of sources and all kinds of transformations. So it all depends on what's your requirement. Based on your requirement, you'll pick the required sources, destinations, and transformations. I'll give you a brief idea about each and every destination, but I'm telling you, don't think that you have to use everything in every project. Okay, so let me start with ADO.NET destination. It's like ADO.NET source. So it uses that ADO.NET provider to connect to the databases. So let me give the source output to the ADO.NET destination, and let's see what all you need to configure as part of the ADO.NET destination. And when the mouse is on, it will give you rights to a database using ADO.NET provider. The main difference between OLE DB and this one is it uses ADO.NET provider. Okay, and if you double click on that to set the properties, here you can set the connection manager. You have to set the connection manager first. So let me click on OK. Sorry, new, and you can see it is .NET providers, which means ADO.NET providers. Here I'm taking SQL dev, and let me select the database, that is sample, and you all know that I have created a couple of tables to demonstrate slowly changing dimensions. So I'll take one of the table which is having the similar structure of whatever we have used in the source. So I have used salesperson in the source, and here I'm going to use SCD type 0 table, or sales underscore person underscore SCD 0, which is having the similar columns, same columns, and it will be automatically mapped. If the column names are different, the mapping will not be available. So what you need to do is you have to drag and drop to the destination. Now click on OK. Before executing this, let me go and delete all the data that is present in SCD, I mean sales underscore person underscore SCD 0 table. So we ran that SCD packages again and again, right? So a lot of data might be added to the data table. So let me delete the data first. So I'm going to the sample database. What is the table name? Salesperson underscore SCD. Oh, no data. Good. Select star from sales underscore person underscore SCD 0. So there is no data. Now let me execute. I said I pulled the data using the OLE DB source, and I'm pushing it to the ADO.NET destination, and you can see what columns it is flowing through. I mean through the pipeline. It is ID, integer type, and name, it is string, and city, and state, country, and pin code. Okay, so let me click on OK, and let me try to execute it. Executed successfully, and you can see 10 rows copied from source to the destination. Now let's try to execute the select statement and see whether the data is copied correctly or not, and you can see the data is copied properly. So this is how you can use ADO.NET destination and OLE DB by to load the data to copy the data into the desired tables. Now, the transformations will come into picture if you want to transform the data. Let's say this is your data, and wherever you are finding Jersey, you want to convert it into Jersey City, right? So if you want to transform the column, you can use that. You can use a derived column or something like that based on the value. If it is Jersey, make it as Jersey City. So that is how you can, I mean, it again, as I told you many times, like it depends on the requirements. If your requirement says that my customers enter the data like Jersey or Jersey City or City Jersey, so all these three should be converted as Jersey City, should be transformed to Jersey City. So in that case, you will have a conditional split, like if the data is so and so, convert it into Jersey City, right? An if condition kind of. So that is how the transformations will be used. That is how the transformations will be picked based on the requirements. Okay. So this is about ADO.NET destination. Now let's see the next destination, data mining model training. It purely for data minings, which we're not going to cover. And let's see the data reader, the next one. And I'm going to use the same data flow by deleting the existing destination, that is ADO.NET. Let me go and give the source from OLE DB source to data reader. Data reader, as it shows, creates and populates an ADO.NET in-memory dataset. So it will be cached and it will be available in the in-memory. And we can set some time limit, how long it has to wait. So after that particular time limit, either it will fail or it will close that. Okay, it will stop the execution. So it loads the data into a memory. Okay, now we can see what you need to set is fail on timeout, true or false, and read timeout. So these two are the properties that you have to set for this one, and the number of columns that you want to store in memory. So these are the input columns that are coming from the source, right? You can see ID, name, city, state, country, and so on. What you want to show in the destination, I want to show it as employee ID and employee name, employee city, or whatever. If you want to give some different names for the countries, columns, then you can go for it in the output alias columns. Employee pin code. Okay. Now the properties that you can set here is one, fail on timeout, and second, read timeout. In seconds you will give like milliseconds. So how many milliseconds it has to wait for the third party application to read the data from the memory. Let's say I have a source, I'm pulling the data from the source, okay, and I'm using data reader. This is my source, and I'm using data reader destination. That means it will copy the data into the memory. So here you will set there will be some third party SSRS reports. It mainly used by SSRS reports. Okay, what SSRS reports is, SSRS reports will pull the data from this memory. So how long it has to wait, that is what you have to specify here. This many milliseconds to wait, and if they don't pick the data, if the SSRS application or whatever the application it is connecting to and trying to read the data from the memory is not read the data in so and so time limit given, then what you want to do, fail on timeout, yes or no. If you set it to true, it will fail because of timeout issue. So let me take the pen. So you can set it to true if you want to timeout it, or you can leave it as false, and it will just close the it will just erase the memory after the read limit. So in the time limit, whatever it is set there, like 30,000 milliseconds in this case, in that time limit it has to pull the data. I mean, SSRS report or SSRS application has to pull the data. There is an option from SSRS to connect to this data reader to pull the data. Okay, so in that cases we use data reader destination, but I can say this is very rare cases. But what people are doing nowadays is they are just dumping all the data into database tables, and then they are using SSRS to connect to the database tables, or they are dumping the data into XML files or different kinds of files, and they are pulling the data even to Excel files, and they are pulling the data into SSRS reports from those files or from those destinations. So this is about the destination data reader. Now let's take the dimension processing. This is again related to the cubes, which we have not discussed. Only a couple of guys in this particular batch knows about the cubes. So for them, I'm giving a hint, and you can easily understand. Okay, the remaining people. So cubes, SSIS cubes will have dimensions and partitions. Okay, dimensions is nothing but master data. Let me take a pen. So let's say this is your cube, and this cube will have a lot of dimensions. Okay, and a lot of partitions. So these dimensions generally creates on top of master tables. So if you have a master table like for example employee, product, or salesperson, all these are master tables. So master tables which are having primary key, you can use those tables as dimension tables. Okay, if you want to see the data based on employee or salesperson or geography or currency type, or there will be so many kinds of how you want to see the data. So that is the answer is master tables. Master tables will have the data for the question how you want to, and what you want to see the data is nothing but by seeing what metrics you can analyze a business or analyze a player or analyze a product performance. So that comes into transactions. So these partitions is nothing but transaction tables in your database, whereas these dimensions is nothing but master tables in your database. So what you can do using this dimension processing is, let's say you have a cube here in your analysis services database. You can read the data from the source and you can copy the data, whatever newly read from the data source, to a particular dimension which is built on top of the table which is having the same number of columns. Let's say I'm getting 5 columns, and this destination, this dimension is the table that is used by the dimension is having 5 columns of same data type and similar data. Then you can move the data to the dimension and process the dimension. It takes care of the both. This is the new one in 2008 R2, I think. So it helps in moving the data into the master tables and also processing the dimensions. This is a really good option, but I don't know how many people will take it chances. I mean, this is a new one, right? And SSIS cube, it throws error, different kinds of errors, and it won't give proper error message also. So people don't take risk as far as I know, unless they are master in cube design. The person who can easily understand by seeing the error, where the error is and what's the root cause of this. So those kind of guys can take risk. And apart from that, I mean, it's always better to move all the data into the destination and process the cube from on the data warehouse databases. Now, let me show you what configurations you can give for this dimension processing destination type. So it will have what kind of processing you want to apply. You can go for add, which means incremental processing. It will add the newly created records. It will go for full processing. That means it will delete the existing data and then it will start fresh. And update, process update means it will only get the new records and updates into the cube. And here you have to select what is the dimension to which you want to process, which you want to process with the newly adding data. Okay, newly inserting data. So let's say I selected customer, and if I go to the mappings, I'll have all the columns, available columns that is coming from the source, and the attributes that are available in the dimension table. So this is the dimension table, and it has only one attribute, that is customer. So customer key takes integer, and if I set this one as integer, map this one, then the ID values, whatever available in the database, will be copied to the customer key and it will process the dimension. But it will be very odd. Let me execute it. I'm not sure if the data is duplicated, then it will throw error. If there is already customer keys with 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever that is coming from the source in the dimension, then it will throw some error. I'm not guaranteeing. So let me try processing it. So it's saying that dimension process is successful. Let's see whether it is successful or not. I'm connecting to analysis services. Let me go to the cube. I don't know what cube I have given. I think this is the one I've given. I'm going with an assumption. So let me go to AdventureWorks TW and I'm browsing it. And for customer key, you can see those 10 records are. I've selected full. So what it has done is it has deleted the existing data and it has processed the fresh data that is being pushed from the data from the OLE DB source. So this is really a beautiful option if the people can use it in a proper way. I mean, but you need to design it properly. Directly sending the data from OLE DB source or from any source to the cube database is very challenging one. You have to be very careful while doing this. Now let's jump into the next one. What is the next one? Excel destination. So this is pretty straightforward one, like Excel source. Let me show you that. I'm pulling the data from there and let me connect to this Excel manager. I think it is connecting to some test. Okay. Let me go to sheet 2 and I'll write the data to the sheet 2. And it has no columns. Okay, fine. I'll create a new one. That's better. First row has columns. I'll go for some sheet. Oops, I have to create that. 1 second, guys. Okay, let me click on it and let me take sheet 1. I'm going to move the data into sheet 1 and let me set it. I think I need to set. I've done a mistake here while setting the source. I said the first column, the sheet is having column rows, right? So this needs to be set out. Okay. Mapping. Now let me take sources like 1, 2, 3, 4 and let me click on OK. Okay, so this is how, I mean, this is the property. The first thing what you have to do is you have to set the Excel sheet and path to the Excel sheet, and once it is set, then you have to map the columns. So the most common issue that you'll be facing is converting from the Unicode to non-Unicode data types. Okay, and if you see the data types that it is creating between, I mean, that is coming from here is Unicode and it is going for non-Unicode. This is taking only non-Unicode data. What you can do is, there are so many ways to handle it. You can use output columns and so on, but what you can do here is you can use transformations also. What transformation you can use to convert the data? You can go with data conversion to convert the Unicode to non-Unicode or non-Unicode to Unicode. So for now, let me do one thing. I'll take an Excel sheet source and I'll pull data from one sheet to another sheet. Why? Because after these destinations, we are going to discuss with a lot of examples on Unicode and non-Unicode data types, which is very important concept. So for now, I'm taking an Excel source and I'm taking data from Excel Connection Manager and I'm taking data from sheet 1. Let's see what data is available in the sheet 1. Okay, fine. And let me copy the data to sheet 2 of the same sheet or any new sheet. So let me delete invalid references, and let me set the Excel source, Excel connection manager. This is pointing to some sheet from where we are pulling the data and pushing it into the next sheet in the same one. I have only one mapping column, so let me give it for now. So if I execute this, and if you see the data that is being pulled from Excel sheet, okay, it's going for WSTR. Always it's a non-unicode. If it is STR, then it is Unicode. Now you can see, so the data types that it will take from the Excel, if you read the data from the Excel, is mostly WSTR, and it will read the data, and it will get if it gets a hint that the data that is available is not falling into Unicode character set, then it will go for non-Unicode, and that is why you will be getting non-Unicode in most of the cases. So here, if you see, if I execute this, it will read the data from the sheet 1, and it will push only one column to the destination, and the table and the data from where I am pulling, that means what I have set as source is this one. You can see it has column 1, column 2, column 3, and column 4. And to sheet 2, I'm setting the sheet 2 as destination, and I don't have columns defined here. So let me define columns. So that it can reflect in the destination. So let me go to the destination. Sheet 2, and you can see the mappings. Now it is automatically set. Why? Because the first row as columns is set to true, and it has columns now. If I execute it, it will read the data from the source to the destination. That is sheet 1 of the same training Excel sheet to sheet 2 of the training Excel. So I'm getting an issue whenever I try to load, and the issue says that some memory, I'm not able to read the memory and so on. I try to fix that issue by adding the patch fix, but it's taking me a lot of time. So I'm putting an end for that here, and I'll try to fix it, or you just try to add the patch and install it. Okay, I'm getting the following error. I'll show you that so that you can try it. And as I told you, my software is not the best one. The software that installed in my machine is not the best one. So you try at your home, in your laptops once, and if it is not working and if you're getting the same issue, you try to add the patch release. So the error what I'm getting here is something like failed error code with the processing input Excel destination, processor input. So it's failing to read some memory, something like this. You can see here. This is the error message I'm getting. Okay, so just try to fix it, and I'm poor in this one, fixing the issues and installing the patches. So try at your home. Okay, guys, you just remember what the configurations you need to set, and if you face the same issue, try to Google and add the fix. You'll find a fix and add the patch release given by Microsoft. And the next one is, before going to the flat file system, let's discuss a little bit about Unicode and non-Unicode data types. We call it as single byte character set or double byte character set. I'll show you what is the single byte or double byte character set. So let's say, they were initially single byte character set. We call it as single SBCS. So that means single byte character set. Later it was double byte character set. So the difference between these two this is very important, and we call the same as Unicode and non-Unicode. The difference is this guy will take only 1 byte per character. Okay, this guy will take 2 bytes per character. So let's say if it wants to store a character, it will take 2 bytes, double the memory. But this guy will take only 1 byte. So why we are going for double byte character system? Okay, that is Unicode character system. We call this as Unicode and this one as non-Unicode. So what is the use of Unicode character system? We'll be using this Unicode and non-Unicode in the remaining destinations. That's why I'm giving a little explanation on the same. So this non-Unicode character system, generally if you take SQL Server, it will be like varchar, character data type or text data type. So all these things fall into non-Unicode data types. Whereas if you go for Unicode data types, it will be nvarchar, nchar, and intext. So if you observe in one of the transformations, term lookup, it was taking only intext data type, right? If you try to give any other data types like text or character or varchar or any other integer, it was not taking. So the term lookup, sorry, the term extraction transformation, it takes only in-text as input, in-text column as input. Now let's see why we are going for Unicode character type. Generally, while installing SQL Server, you will go for a core page. What is the core page? Like English. While installing SQL Server, you will specify the core page, and that core page will have the character set. Okay, a character set. Let's say while installing, you will say English US, so it will have all the English US character set, and this guy will accept only that character set. Only one code page, I can say, one character set, either English or Chinese or Japanese or something like that. So, but nowadays, if you see the applications are going for globalization, designing for globalization purpose, and all the, there are so many clients from different countries are using the same application, and people are not going for different databases or different applications on country basis, right? So, to handle such kind of scenarios, sometimes people will be entering data in Chinese. People enters the data in Russian language, Spanish language. So all those character set will not fit if you go for single byte character system, or in other words, we call it as Unicode data. Sorry, non-Unicode data. So that is why this Unicode concept came into picture, and in this Unicode, it occupies double the memory, but it accepts any kind of data, any language like Chinese, Japanese, Tamil. So all the character sets can be inserted into a column which is defined as Unicode data type, like nvarchar, nchar, or intext data types. Okay. So now let's see how the memory will be. Let's say this guy takes 8,000 characters, nvarchar, and varchar. Then nvarchar can accommodate only up to max of 4,000 characters. Why? Because 4,000 characters will become 8,000 bytes of memory, right? So that is how it's always double the memory in occupying for per character. And as I told you, this takes 1 byte per storage, or 1 byte of storage, whereas this one takes 2 bytes of storage. Now let's see an example how to define an nvarchar, nchar data types in SQL Server first. So to demonstrate the difference between Unicode and non-Unicode, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Excel sheet, which the connection is already set, that is training Excel, and here I have data, like you can see this data available, some 10 to 12 rows or 11 rows are available. Now I'm going to add some different characters, not from the English dictionary. Okay. So I'm gonna add some different characters. So for that, I'll go for translate.google.com. Let me translate. Bad boy. This is the Chinese word for bad boy. So let me take this guy and copy it here. And I'm copying the same here. Okay, I'll copy only for one guy. Here I'll take a test. Here I'll take test. So only for one column, that is column 1, I've taken a Chinese character. Okay. So this is not from the code page, English character set, right? It is a different character set. This character set is Chinese character set. So let me save this guy, save this worksheet, and now let me check the source whether it is pulling the Chinese characters or not. You can see the Chinese characters are coming here. Okay. Now let me set a destination. I'll take OLE DB destination to push the data into the table, SQL Server table. Let's say salesperson table. Okay. So first, what I'm gonna do here is, before going to that, I'll see what is the data types that it is getting. You can see it is getting WSTR, all are Unicode kind of data. Okay, Unicode strings. So the first thing what I can do here is I can convert this one. So before taking this OLE DB destination, let me delete this. First, what I have to do here is I have to find out what is the data types that are available in the destination table. So let me go to the destination table, that is here, and by using sp_help, I'll come to know what is the different types of data types that it has been used. You can see all are varchars. So that is non-Unicode data, non-Unicode data type varchar. Okay. Now let me try using character map. Sorry, data conversion. I can use data conversion. See, I'm getting Unicode data, but I have non-Unicode in my destination. So what I can do is I can convert it, right? Let me try converting the columns, whether it will work fine or not. I'm taking 4 columns, and all the 4 I'm converting to string, that is, which can be used to store the data in the varchar kind of data type. So I converted everything into string, and now I'm taking an audit transformation just to check whether it is converting properly or not. So if you observe, I'm getting Unicode data and I'm trying to convert into non-Unicode data using data conversion. So what will happen now? Will it convert or it will fail? So you can see it is reading 11 records and you can see it is failed. And if you see the issue, it will be failed for the column which is having the particular kind of Chinese data or something. So what I'm going to do here is, as part of this conversion, I'm going to remove this, the column 1 which is having the Chinese data, right, special characters. So I've removed that, and now let's see the output, what metadata it is having, string of column 2, column 3 and column 4. So this column 2, column 3 and column 4 of Excel sheet is having character set, English character set, right? So let's see what will happen now. Now when I remove the first column conversion from Unicode to non-Unicode, it is working fine. Why? Because the remaining columns in the Excel, if you see, this is the Excel from where I am pulling the data. These columns are having the character set, okay, which is supported by the string, non-Unicode character set. But this one is having characters which is not supported by non-Unicode characters. That is the character set that is defined for this particular SQL Server installation. So that is the problem. So in this kind of cases, what you can do, you have to make sure that if you're getting data which is beyond your control, like conversion, you can't convert, you can't do anything with that. So what you can do, if you try to give this to destination now, instead of instead of setting this to audit transformation, if you set it to OLE DB destination, you can move the remaining 3 rows. But the issue will come when you move the first column. Sorry, remaining 3 columns you can move, but when you try to move the first column, then you will be getting an error like this. Let me show you by setting the connection. So I'm going to sample database where I have a CD type 0 or something. I'll go for table or view, and this is the table. And here I'm taking column 2 to city, which I have converted to string, column 3 to state, and column 4 to country. All these are string data types. Oops. Okay, let it be pink, not a problem. So I'm setting only string data types, whatever the string data type non-Unicode data that is coming from data conversion to the destination. Let me set. And I got an error because the Excel sheet was open, so I closed it and I reran the package, and you can see all the 11 rows from 3 different columns, which has been converted to string, okay, has been loaded to the destination. And you can see by executing the table here. Select star from, and you can see it is loading city, state, and print from the Excel sheet by reading the data from the Excel sheet. Now, if I set the first one to one of the columns, if I map it, I mean to say if I map this column 1 to, let's say, name, oops, it has taken to city. Okay, fine, not a problem. So you can see it is throwing an error. The column 1 and city cannot be converted between Unicode and non-Unicode string data types. We tried converting using this. So what you can do here is, in these kind of cases, you can alter the table data type. Alter table this data type. So if you're getting a special characters, or if you're getting the characters from beyond your character set that is supported by your SQL server, then you have to go for nvarchar data type. So I'm gonna alter one column here, alter name. The column name is name. I'm setting it to nvarchar of 100. So it was varchar of 100. Oops. It was varchar of 100. Now I'm converting it to nvarchar of 100. So let me execute it, and you can see it is having some null values, blah blah blah. And here, let me set it to name property. Okay, name column, and let me set this column 2 to city. So what I've done, first case, I tried to convert all the columns with the character set that can be converted to non-Unicode. But for the remaining, which is getting some different character set which cannot be accepted by the SQL server installation, whatever you have done. So in that case, what I'm doing here is I'm converting the database column type to data type to nvarchar, so that it can accept any kind of characters. Let's see now whether it loads the data into the database table or not. And you can see it has not thrown any error, and it says all 11 records are inserted successfully. Let me execute it, and let me go to the name column. I'm interested particularly in this, and you can see the Chinese characters has been loaded. If I try to map this one to any other column which is of non-Unicode data types like varchar, char, or text data types, it won't accept. Okay, so this is the difference between Unicode and non-Unicode data types, character sets. Okay. And this is very important. See, the conversion from Unicode to non-Unicode is possible if and only if the characters used in the particular column is in the code page whatever defined in the installation of SQL Server. Let's say while installing SQL Server, if I set it to English characters, then if the column is having all English characters, then you can convert, even though the data type is defined as non-Unicode, you can convert it into, Unicode, you can convert it into non-Unicode. But if you have some characters which is beyond the character set that is supported by your SQL Server installation, then you need to convert the column data type to nvarchar or nchar or ntext type of data types. Okay, now anyhow we copied the OLE DB destination, right? Let's see the different options. Here when you select the OLE DB destination, this is the one which supposed to maximum types of data types, database servers. And you have different ways like table or view, where you can select only the table name or view name to which you want to insert the data, or fast load. If you select fast load, it will generally people uses fast load whenever they are loading double byte characters set of data. Like as I told you, Unicode data. Whenever you have Unicode data, if you go for normal load, the access mode as table or view, then it will create some problem while inserting the data. The data issues are arising. So when you have such kind of data, the table or view with fast load is preferable. And when you select this, you will have different options, like you can select the table to which you want to load, or you can create a new table by clicking the new button option, and the identity. So if you have defined an identity column in your database, and if you want to, and you are getting the data from the source, generally identity column will not take any input, right? It will automatically increments. So if there is data coming from the source and if you want to insert the same, then you can set it to keep identity. So it will take the identity column value also and insert the values. In the same way, nulls, whether you want to store as nulls or blank value while moving to the database. If it is a string type and it is null, it will store as blank, and if it is integer type and if it is coming as null, and if you check this keep nulls, or sorry, if you don't check this keep nulls, it will go as 0. And in the table lock will set a lock on the table. That means it won't allow any other source to insert the data into the table when this insert is going on. Okay. When the insert is going on by using this OLE DB destination, when this data flow is executing, that is pulling the data from the source and pushing it into the table which you have specified here, a lock will be set on the table so that no other resource can use or can try to update or insert the data that is present, so that it will avoid so much of data corruption, I mean what we call it as data issues. Okay. And check constraints. If the table is having some constraints like foreign key constraint or check constraints or default constraints, do you want to check those constraints or not? Sorry, mainly primary key column and foreign key constraints it will check. And if you want to check those constraints, then you need to check this. If you uncheck this, it won't check those constraints and it will directly load the data even though it is primary key. And if you load the dummy data, it will go into the table. And duplicate data, it will go into the table. And rows per batch, how many rows it has to take as one batch? By default, it will be -1. That means no value, and you can set some 100,000 or 10,000 rows as one batch. And maximum insert commit size is how many rows it has to commit. Okay. If you set it to 0, the whole input, whatever it is coming, will be committed as one batch, one transaction. Okay. If anything fails, it will go for a toss. So, or if you want to set a limit like 10,000 or 20,000, you can give a number here as per your requirement or as per your confidence on the data that is coming from the source. And mapping page, you will have the mappings, what column to map to what is the from source and what is the destination. And here similar options we have two more, like table name or view name as variable. So if you select this instead of table name, here table name or view name, you have to specify the variable which is having the table name. So where you can use this, if you are getting and storing the table name in some variable, then you can use this. In the same way, if the table name and variable is table name or view name is coming from a variable, and if you want to go for fast load, then you have to select this option. And again, the remaining the same properties will be available here. And the last one is SQL command. You can write a SQL query. Let's say I'm writing a SQL query called select star from sales_person. So this query will fetch a couple of columns. Those columns will be available here. You can see the same columns. Let me take a different table so that term table is there, right? I think term lookup is there. Let's see. No, that table is not available. Let me see what tables are available so that I can go for one. Tables. Sales_term is there. So let me go for sales_term. And if you go to the mappings, it will give you the columns that are available in the sales_term. You can copy, you can map to the relevant column, and you can start inserting the data. So these are the different options that are available in the OLE DB destination. OLE DB destination, that's it. Okay, now let's quickly go through the remaining destinations too. And most frequently used one is OLE DB destination, keep in mind. And flat file destination, people use this one too. And this flat file destination, very known one, we have used it many times, right? So what it will do, it will load the data into the flat file, and let me create a new one, delimited one. Okay, fine. It will take some time. Well, So if you want to write the data to any flat file, then you can go with the flat file option. So here I'm creating a new file. Let's say I'm giving my name. This is the file, and column names in the first row, I'm checking it, and these are the columns that are coming from the input, column 1, 2, 3, 4, copy, and so on, and comma separator and so on. Advanced, fine. Click on OK. And now mappings. The mappings are set. This is fine. Let me click on OK and execute it. That's it. This is, we used it many times while discussing about the transformations, right? So this is pretty straightforward one where you will be setting the connection to the flat file. So here, this is how, you can see the data can be written only to the non-unicode data types. Now let me execute it, and it has written 10 records, right? Let's see whether the records will be written now. Okay, you can see all the data has been added to the. Now let me execute it. Let me open the file. The file name is Rupesh. Here it is, and you can see even the Chinese characters has been copied. Whatever the data that is present in Excel sheet has been copied to the destination. So what you need to do here is, first time it threw an error, right? When I have not set the property, it threw an error. So to make the Unicode data write into a text file, the property that you need to set is, you have to go to the flat file connection manager and you have to set this Unicode. If you set this Unicode, then it won't take a code page here. Else it will take the code page, and only that code page information will be loaded to the destination, flat file destination, or if the character set falls into that code page. If I uncheck this and if I execute this one, now if I try to push the same Chinese data, Chinese character set into this, it won't accept. Why? Because the code page does not support the Chinese characters. Whatever the code page that we have selected there does not support the Chinese characters. In the same way, if I select the code page as Chinese characters, then it won't support English or the remaining stuff, right? So that is why you have to check the option Unicode, whatever it is available in the connection properties. Let me close this guy, and you can see it is throwing an error. That doesn't mean it has not written any record. It has written all the records that is having the character set that falls in the code page, whatever we have set. But the Chinese character stuff, when it comes into picture, it is throwing error because it doesn't support that character set. Now to solve this issue, you just need to go here to the connection manager and check the Unicode option and click on OK, so that it will load all kinds of character set. So that's it about the flat file destination task. And now let's jump into the OLE DB destination we have discussed now. Let's jump into the partitioning processing. Partitioning processing is very similar to dimension processing. I told you dimension processing will take care of master tables. Dimensions will be created on master tables, whereas fact tables will be created on transaction tables. So partition will have transaction data. So what you need to do here is, from the source, connect to this, and it will list you. If you connect to the analysis services database, here you can see the connection manager. This is SSIS DL sample is connecting to analysis services to a cube called AdventureWorks DW, which I have created in this one. You can see it here. This is the analysis services, and you can see the cube name SSIS DDL example. Okay, the same database I'm pointing to, and this is the cube name, and in that I have one measure group, and in that I have one partition. So this is the last one is called, the last one is partition. So here it's again the same story. Either you want to process add, or you want to do the process full, or you want to do process data only. And the mapping from the source, whatever the columns you are getting, and these are the columns that are present or used in the measure group table or fact table, or you can say partition table, okay, in the analysis services. So as you can see here, you have to give some connections, like from which column you are going to push the data to which partition in the SSIS cube. And once it is given, then you can give the error configuration. while processing, if you face some error, you can set some error configuration while processing the analysis services partitions. This is the same page which you can use to set the error configuration. Like ignore errors. If you ignore errors, even though there is some error coming in the database partition processing, it will ignore and it will continue. Key not found error. What you want me to do? What you want the server to do? Report and continue, or ignore error, or report and stop. If you select this report and stop, it will say, it will report that error and it will fail the component. So that means it will go for a toss. I mean, you have to correct that issue, and then you have to reprocess it. So that is why there will be chances of getting a lot of issues while processing the dimensions and while processing the partitions in the cubes databases. And that is why I've never seen people using this dimension processing destination and partition processing destination, as it is very risky and it may lead to lots and lots of problems if you don't design it properly. So this is how the partition, it will be selected automatically when you set the connection. Yeah, there will be some 10 to 15 partitions. Whatever the partition you want to do, you can select that and go to the mappings and select the mappings. Okay, and click on OK. This will work fine only when you have one partition. If you have more than one partition, it will be very difficult to set or make use of this partition processing destination. Now let me jump into the next one. Raw file destination. I think we have used this long back, right? Hope you remember when we discussed about raw file source, we don't have any raw file, so I created one raw file destination and I pushed the data, and I've showed you also how the data will be, right? So let me select it again. Why this heading? I'll name it as Babu. Click on open, and here I'll have an option like create always, every time you want to create it or not. Create only once, or append, or truncate and append. So append means, that means the file is already available, just append the data every time. Truncate means truncate the data and append it. Truncate the data and append and write the data to that. Create once means create the file only once. Create always means always create the file. So let me go with create once and click on columns. These are the columns that are available. If I click all the columns that I want, and if I execute it, it will write the data to the raw file, and I'll show you how the raw file looks. Okay, it is successful, and let me go to Babu file, and it's a raw file, right? So let me open it with Notepad, and let me show you how it will be. So it will be like this: column 1, something blah blah blah, column 2, column 3, and you don't understand even a single word from here, right? But you can, if you use OLE DB, if you use raw file source, you can read the data perfectly. So I'm selecting raw file source here, and you remember the name of the file, right? I think it's a Babu. So let me go for Babu file. Here it is, and if you go to the columns, you can see these are the columns, and if you read it, if you set what is that, an RD transformation, if you try to read it, you can read it perfectly, you will get the complete data. So let me do one thing. Anyhow, we discussed about this raw file destination, right? So let me select these guys and let me click on delete, and let me take the RD transformation just to see whether the data is coming correctly or not from the raw file which we have used as destination. So let me go to data viewers, add, okay, and let me execute it. And you can see the raw file, it looks very awkward and you can't even read. Sorry, this is not the raw file. It was in a different way, right? It's not readable, right? So if you set it as source and if you try to read the data, you can see how perfect it is coming. So raw file is faster than text files. That's what I know as far as raw files is concerned. So people use raw file if they want to write so huge data into the files. So this is about the different destinations, and let's see whether anything is pending. The record set destination. This is one useful destination. So you can use this record set destination to move the data into a variable. What kind of variables you can use? Object variable if you are getting the data. The only property you can set here is the columns that you want to move and the variable name to which you want to move. So let me go to some variable which is of type object, I don't have anything, I guess. So let me set it. Let me create one variable. Go to variables and let me check whether variable is object type. So let me make use of the variable. I think we are in 13. So let me go to record set, and I'm gonna use the variable with the name variable, which is of type object, to which these columns data will be loaded. So once the data is loaded into this, then you can use this variable. It should be, see, whenever you are loading the table type, you have to go for object, right? So what you can do, after executing this, the variable will be having, the object variable will be having data. So if you want to read some data and loop through and play with the data, and before reading the data and putting it into object variable, if you want to massage something, if you want to massage to the data, like by using transformations, you can use this, right? You can use a kind of data flow, which will have a connection to the database table and reads the data and modifies the data and then adds the data to the variable. And this variable data can be used in the next control flow task. If you have a control flow task like for each loop here or something like that, you can loop through that and you can do whatever you want based on the values that is coming from the object variable, or that is being pulled from the source. So there are two more. One is SQL Server Compact Destination, which I've never used. This is a kind of database, and if you go for a SQL Server Compact database type, you will find an installable, downloadable. You can download it and you can install it. And second thing is, I think this is used for creating some fast .NET applications. So, so for that, if you have that kind of database installed in your machine, so what you can do here is you can connect to that, and it is pretty straightforward. Like you can set the connection manager and then component properties. It will be like only table name, what table name to which you want to load, and what is the column mappings. When you select the table name there, you will get all the columns here. What are all the columns that are available in the SQL Server Compact database, and map the columns and click on OK. So that one will load the data into the SQL Server Compact databases. Okay, so that is the use of SQL Server Compact Destination. And this SQL Server Destination, generally people don't use this. Why? Because SQL Server Destination is used to load the data to a SQL Server table, that too present in your local computer. If you try to connect to the remote computer, let's say if you have a computer in your network but not your computer, it's in your network, it's not local computer, it won't accept. So this is one of, not the best option to go with. If you go for SQL Server Destination, the package, if the package is here in your computer, and let's say in my computer, and the SQL Server table to which I am moving the data should also be in the same computer, right? So else, if I raised a question long back in MSBI. So what is the use then? What if I want to connect to the SQL table in the other servers, remote servers? The answer like use OLE DB. This is the answer from Microsoft. So that is the use of SQL Server Destination, where you'll be using to move the data from any source to the destination, any SQL Server table that is available in your local computer. And the settings will be very simple, like normal settings, whatever that is available for the domain. So if you see sample and click on whatever the table you want to load, and mappings, whatever the mappings you want to do. Let's say these are string types, right? Let me map it to city, let me map it to state, and let me map it to country. And I think I have converted the name to nvarchar, so I can push column 1 data into this. So set this and execute this. So this is how you can use SQL Server Destination, and very rarely used one, very rarely used one. Okay, I explained what's the disadvantage of that. Keeping the disadvantage in mind, people don't go for this one, this particular destination. So most frequently used one is flat files they use, raw files rare cases they use, OLE DB they use, and ADO.NET they use. They use these 4, and couple of cases they'll go for record set if the requirement demands. So this is about the different destinations, and we are done with the ETL part. and only deployment part is pending, moving and managing the packages, administrating the packages, and executing the packages and configuring the packages in the what is that, SQL Server agent using jobs. Okay, what are the different types of jobs you can, how you can configure executing a package, scheduling a package in SQL Server agent jobs, and everything we will discuss in the next session. Thank you very much, guys. And if you have any questions, just go to the video and practice it. And if you have any questions, you can drop a mail to me. Thank you very much. Good night.